Peace, brothers and sisters, and thank you for joining me for this edition of Keep It Simple, Make It Plain. My name is Brother Nkosi, and today we're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter as a concept, Part 2. One of the things after I did Part 1, I spoke to a few people, and they asked that I flesh out certain things and explain things a little bit better. So I said, sure, I'll go back to it. So I want to apologize in advance if there's some redundancy between the first part and the second part, but I may want to use some of those as lead-ins to the second part. Secondly, I also want to reiterate that I am not a spokesperson for Black Lives Matter. I am not in the organization, nor any of organizations that might represent the coalition. No connection whatsoever. My comments are basically speaking to the concept of Black Lives Matter, because that concept is very important and that concept is very powerful, and it's, for the most part, it's that concept that's actually under attack. That's what they're concerned about mostly. Black Lives Matter could be seen in some respects as a slogan being put forward, almost like when you would see people say, whose streets? Our streets. You might hear people say, no justice, no peace. But what makes it more powerful and what makes it the correct thing, and you can always tell a correct slogan from an incorrect slogan. You might say, well, how can a slogan be incorrect if I'm saying no justice, no peace? How can a slogan be incorrect if I say whose streets? Our streets. That's easy. You can always tell, because if it's not really correct, someone can take it and use it themselves. In other words, for example, I've seen recent demonstration as the police were routing the demonstrators. They were saying, whose streets? Our streets, right? That's what they were doing. I've seen a demonstration, another demonstration where the police were actually demonstrating, and they were saying, no justice, no peace. I've seen racist organizations say the same thing, no justice, no peace. So they take your slogan and co-opt it. Now you might say, well, it's hell. They've done the same thing with Black Lives Matter when they say white lives matter or when they say all lives matter. No, not at all. That's their slogan, white lives matter. That's not ours, or that's not black people's, I should say. When they say all lives matter, that's what they're saying. They ain't got nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. So that tells you that that's a problem when you can't co-opt it. So the next thing you try to do is you try to take people away from it and try to keep diverting them with different subterfuge. You keep attacking it. In fact, you don't even attack Black Lives Matter. You actually say what it actually means. Well, when Kaepernick takes a knee, he's not protesting the murder and lack of adequate punishment for police officers that commit those murders. No, not at all. He's disrespecting the flag. Do you think that they think that? No, they don't. They're very, very, very clear as to what's happening. Do you think that when people talk about all lives matter, they don't know what you're talking about? It's almost like, let's just say my house is burning, and I run to the fire department. I said, my house is burning. I need you to come over and put the fire out. Is the house next to you burning? I said, well, no, it's not. Why is your house special? Well, because it's on fire. My house needs attention. Well, all houses matter. All houses need attention. I said, yeah, but mine's on fire. So you want to make like your house is better than that house next door. No, my house is better than the house next door, but my house is on fire. Well, sorry, but all houses matter. I mean, that's the logic that they put forward. But that's why they understand that what's being said. So that's why they try to divert from it. And when you hear a lot of people say it, if you notice that the quote, common man on the street when he says, well, yeah, white lives matter, or they may say all lives matter, or these disrespecting the flag. They didn't come up with that by themselves. That is the job of the ideologue, the white ideologue who's there to help people reconcile the difference between right and wrong and a certain situation. Well, what do I mean by that, man? Make it plain. Okay, let's take it back in history for a minute and see if we can bring it up. During the time of slavery, people were like, wait a minute. There's some people, they were like, wait a minute. I'm a Christian, I'm a moral human being, and yet I'm supposed to stand by and let people be treated in such a manner, i.e. the slaves. That was a conflict of what they were taught. It was a conflict of what they believed as their core values. And the opposite was right there in their face. How do we possibly reconcile this is the question. Those who understood how people are and how people think and what needed to happen, they helped them out with that. They said, well, see, what you have to understand is they're not human like us. They don't feel like we do. I mean, you whip them, they may look like it hurt, but it maybe hurts some, but not like it would hurt you, you know. And when they break them up, that's take away their children, sell them off or whatever. That's, you know, they don't feel like we do. In fact, they don't even really have souls. In fact, if we can maybe have them and keep them close to us and maybe teach them about God, maybe some kind of way they can get a soul. I don't know, but don't sweat it. Okay, don't sweat it. They're not like us. They're not human. And that was enough to placate a lot of people, especially if they kept repeating the argument over and over and over again that these people weren't human. That's what we're going to talk a little bit about, not too much because I don't want to go all over the place, but it's the fallacy of how arguments are used to convince people of stuff. Things like straw man or repeat the argument ad nauseum. That's something like that right there. It just kept repeated. They're not human, they're not human, they're not human. And at some point, other people begin to pick up on that and take that view. Unfortunately for them, not everybody, so it works to some degree. It works actually better nowadays because you have all these different ways of getting the same kind of message across at such, you know, different. You got TV, you got the internet, you got a radio person. They can listen to this shit while they're driving home. You know, they can listen to Rush there and then come on home and catch a Rush podcast. So all these ways of reinforcing these things. You didn't have that before. So you're able to convince more people. You might even seen, maybe you haven't seen this, but I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here from World War II, where you were taking people who were taught all their lives killing is wrong, murder is wrong, and all life is sacred, all lives matter, matter of fact. And then they were told to go and kill the Japanese. Well, yeah, they did attack, and so people are just hyped on that. They say, oh, yeah, well, they attacked Pearl Harbor, so yeah, I'm down to fight. Might not need too much motivation, at least at that point while they're home. Now, when they actually get there, and you might be fighting somebody, and you kill them, and you see that dead body there, you search him and find a picture of him with his family, all of a sudden, he's not just the enemy, he's a person. So what did they do? Well, look at these pictures here, how they dehumanized the Japanese so that they weren't killing people, they were killing vermin. Okay, so you see right there, they're caricatures of either they're caricatures of people or they're vermin of some sort. Started looking at a little of them, noticed they weren't too yellow. They was actually starting, some of them looking kind of dark skinned there too. I don't know if that was a twofer, but anyway. So that's what they did to try to convince people that it's okay. So the same thing happens today. So when it comes time when we say, listen, when the police kill a black man, woman, or child, and it's unjustified, like people being unarmed, shot in the back, etc., then that police officer needs to be punished. That's what it means, because our lives are important too. So what you're saying is that you're here to disrespect the flag then. No, I said what I just said. So you're here to say that your black lives are more important than other people's lives. No, I already said what I wanted to say. So they start going off on their own tangents about what they want to say that you're saying, when that's not what you're saying at all. Interestingly enough, you have white people saying it, because see, these white people that I talked about, they need convincing, just like the people in the days of slavery, just like the people who had to go off and kill the Japanese. White people aren't just evil. It may seem that way. You might think that. You might have recalled when Nation of Islam said the white man is the devil. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but oh no, they're people. And they need convincing for them to see life out, because they have some constructs of how they see life, right? And so if they're going to see things as does not fit with that, they need to know why this doesn't fit like that. And that's where your rushes come in. Yes, it's not really about that. You shouldn't feel bad for these people, because, look, if they were really concerned, they'd be protesting black on black.
They've been trying to tell everybody, while you're out there focused on Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter is not focused on black lives killing other blacks. Black Lives Matter doesn't even care, doesn't even notice. And he often uses Chicago.
Don't you hear other white people say that? Where do you think they thought of that on their own? You think they just sat around? No, they were told to think that. You know, because they needed something. They needed a counterbalance to what they think is what is supposed to be truth, justice, the American way, equal protection under the law. They understand all those things, what they were brought up to believe. So if it's not applying to you, there has to be a special reason. And they can't always think of those special reasons on their own. And that's where people like Rush come in, and they come and say, well, you know, these people, they're killing themselves. They're disrespecting the flag. It's everything except for when the police kill a person unjustifiably, that police officer needs to be brought to justice. You know, that's just that simple. You had a white cop not too long ago just killed a white guy, shot him as he begged for his life, crawling across the floor. They let him off. I mean, that was so sad, you know. Anyway, so that's what those people are doing. Now here's the other thing, right? That in itself is not quite enough. You know, it's good, but it's not quite enough. It helps maybe to alleviate the conflict 70%, maybe 75. It's not enough. How can they get the rest of it relieved? If only you could find black people who felt that way too.
Now, you may remember that Governor O'Malley got booed when he actually said that all lives matter, and then later he ended up apologizing. Watch this.
Every life matters, and that is why this issue is so important. Black lives matter, white lives matter, all lives matter.
Out of the candidates who answered that question, only former Virginia Senator Jim Webb said that all lives matter. Joining us now with reaction, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, CRN KRLA radio host Larry Elder, and Fox News political analyst Juan Williams. Hey, Sheriff, I'm having a hard time with this. White lives matter, black lives matter, Asian lives matter, Hispanic lives matter, blue lives matter. What is so controversial about saying all lives matter? And what does it say when somebody won't say that?
Sean, it was a pathetic display. It was plantation politics in its finest hour, the continued enslavement of black people emotionally by the Democrat Party with this destructive liberal ideology, and they know it.
Oh, hey, guess what? they found some. Well, there's good old Sheriff Clark, and we got Larry Elder, Juan Williams. Okay, so those are definitely the champions of black people right there. So if we just hear from them, they'll definitely set the record straight. So now that you got these black people who say it's okay, you got to be okay, right? So, you know, and here he is, he's talking about, well, gee, why is it wrong to say all lives matter? You know, why is that wrong to say that? He's confused. He's not able to understand the concept of that black people are being murdered or somehow. So he's confused why people would say, I don't understand why they're complaining about all lives matter. Don't all lives matter? I mean, I'm confused. I don't understand. Brothers and sisters, I can't make this clear enough. I can't make this simple enough. I can't make this plain enough. It's not that they don't know. They know all too well. Do not get caught out there by people acting like, well, oh yeah, all lives matter, and like they just confused. They are not confused at all. You do not want to deal with the situation of holding the police accountable for murder, because see, it opens up too many cans of worms. Because again, if that's true, what else is true? What else is going on in the society? You know, next thing you know, they're losing power, or they may be elevated above them. It's just too much to bear. So they have to have something to attack. I don't know what's going on with Black Lives Matter as a coalition or formation. My view is that most likely what happened is that the internal organizations up inside that coalition started pushing their different things. That happens in coalitions. Usually does not fare well, but that's just my view. I've been in coalitions before, and that type of thing has happened. I don't know if that's what's happening here. Hopefully, you know, whatever is organization, they'll work it out, or if they don't, it's really not that deep, because the issue is any black man, woman, or child should be able to recite the line, and the line is real simple. When the police commit a crime against members of the community, that police officer needs to be punished by law. That's it. So I'm going to leave it at there. One of the things I decided I'm going to start doing now is start introducing people to my political parents. And so I'm going to start with this brother right here. It's a brother by the name of Baba Zach A. Kondo. He wrote the book Conspiracy, Unraveling the Assassination of Malcolm X. It seemed like it was out of print for a while. It still may be out of print. I did see someone seemed like they had it. It cost $32 now. When I bought my copy, it was $17 about. And I'm trying to see if there's a date on here. I forgot what I bought. It was quite a few years back. I recommend it for a couple of reasons. It helps you to understand how, not just so much about how Malcolm was assassinated, but it helps you to explain how people sow the seeds of confusion and dissent among black people so that they can keep us in a state of confusion and a state of chaos. So that's one of my, Baba Zach is one of my political parents. He's a brother who I know very well, and I just can't tell you what a great brother he is. I'll share one of my anecdotal stories that involved him one day, but I'm gonna just, by way of intro, leave with a little bit of him speaking at a program years ago.
My research found that there were 3 forces responsible for the assassination of Malcolm X. One force was the Nation of Islam, who actually do the dirty work. The force that was behind the scenes, orchestrating and using the nation as puppets and idiots, as far as I'm concerned, was the FBI.
So